My name is Giuseppe Suaria. I'm a research scientist at the Institute of Marine Science of the Italian Research Council. So Manta trawl is one of the most commonly used methods to sample microplastics on the surface of the ocean. It's used worldwide since many years. And it's basically a plankton net that is sampling the first few centimeters of seawater to collect floating microplastics. It's called Manta trawl because it has two wings that basically helps to stabilize the net and keep it afloat on the surface of the ocean. We lower it from the side of a research vessel normally, and we tow it at the speed of about 1-2 knots. And the net will be collecting through the mesh all the floating microplastics, bigger than 300 micrometers. It's a sampling method that is being widely used in the marine science community and in the plastic pollution community to sample microplastics. Relatively large particles, because the smallest particle now we are using more refined methods to collect them. It's a method that is prone to some contamination levels, so that's why we have to collect some field blanks to account for the external contamination, and then we can basically correct our samples with the results of our blank procedures. We need to collect some metadata when we collect the Manta net samples. That is basically the volume of water that we are sampling to estimate the concentration of microplastics in the seawater samples. A flow meter is a device that we use at the mouth of the net to measure the volume of water we are sampling. And then we have to record information like the GPS coordinate, the start and stop time of the sampling event, as well as the weather condition like wind speed and wave heights. And all other information that will help us to reconstruct the concentration of the microplastics in the area that we are sampling. Wind speed can affect the concentration of microplastics on the surface of the ocean because wave and wind will basically increase the depth of the mixed layer, and the particles will be distributed homogeneously on the water column. So they will not be floating at the surface, so they will be mixed down in the mixed layer, and so we need to take into account this because we can compute some correction factor to estimate the concentration of microplastics. So Manta trawl has been one of the first methods used to sample microplastics on the surface of the ocean, and is not the ideal method, but is now widely used by many research groups around the world. And so it's important that we use Manta trawl as a standard method to sample microplastics because then we will be able to compare the results that we are collecting now and the samples that we will be collecting in the future with the samples that were collected like 10 years, 15 years ago. And this way we can estimate trends, temporal trends in the concentration of particles, and basically see whether the policy is being effective or not in reducing the concentration of microplastics on the surface of the sea.